Growing up, we were always told that smoking is bad for you. And due to RA 9211, we grew up barely being exposed to cigarette ads, much less to positive depictions of smoking cigarettes in media. This is a far cry from previous generations who were told that cigarettes had medicinal or even therapeutic properties. Brands like Lucky Star or Camel built their entire businesses on being physician recommended cigarette brands. But around the mid 1960s, public perception of cigarettes would change drastically. Suddenly, smoking was frowned upon, and the amount of smokers lowered in the following generations. But why? It's just a stick of tobacco, isn't it? How can that actually do that much damage? We've seen the pictures of cigarette boxes of people with black lungs or rotting flesh, but how does that even happen? Surely those are just biased anti smoking propaganda images, right? Well, in this video, we will be simulating how exactly cigarette smoke affects the body by using a device constructed out of common household materials. Then, we'll be breaking down the chemical makeup of cigarette smoke, what exactly makes it dangerous, and how exactly it becomes dangerous to you.
So to show you how dangerous smoking is, we will conduct an experiment that portrays the effects of one single cigarette stick. In this experiment, we will need a plastic bottle, a cigarette of course, anything to drill holes in the bottle, and then anything to seal these holes. And then we also need a source of water. In this case, I will use another plastic bottle, but you can use anything. But before we start, disclaimer that do not try this at home without permission or assistance. And make sure that you are safe with the proper PPEs like the lab coat and the eye goggles. And then if you need a mask as well for the smoke, it's better to use that. Okay, so first we will drill two holes in the plastic bottle. So first is in the cap, in the top of the cap, and then we will also need to punch holes on the side, on the bottom of the plastic bottle, so that there will be an outlet for the water later on. We have to ensure that the hole on the cap will be approximately the same diameter with that of the cigarette stick, because we will have to place it through the hole on the cap. As you can see, it is as if the bottle will be the lungs and the cap will be the mouth of someone smoking. Okay, so also take note that the bottom hole must be sealed in the meantime for the next step. So here it is near the bottom of the bottle, but it is not actually in the bottom. For the next step, we then have to fill the bottle with water. So here we go. I think it would be easier to use a funnel, but if you don't have one, you just have to do it carefully. Make sure that the hole on the bottom will be sealed so that the water will not flow. Okay, so after that, we will place the bottle cap once again with the cigarette on it. For the next step, we will have to light up the cigarette, but in this case, we will not do that because we are not permitted to do so, and that we don't have our advisor with us. So for this, we will be conducting the experiment theoretically. So if we light up the cigarette, we then have to remove the seal, and then let the pressure flow. So here, the change in pressure caused by the water flowing will suck out the cigarette smoke, and it will simulate the inhalation of smoke when someone is using the cigarette stick. So in theory, there will be smoke in here, and some will be dissolved in water. once the cigarette has finished burning, the bottle will be filled with smoke, and so we will remove the cap and replace it with tissue. So be careful with this process so that the smoke will not come out and be a hazard to your family members or anyone who is around. So since we don't have a smoke here, we will use the tissue. Like that, and then we will have to seal it, and for the remaining parts we will have to place a straw here. Okay, so after the previous step, we will have to ensure that the smoke will not come out of this hole near the bottle, near the bottom of the bottle. So with this, we will use a straw, and then we will blow out, or technically press the air out of the bottle and filter it with the tissue. So the smoke will be coming out here, but there will not be any smoke that is visible because it will be filtered out with the tissue. In doing this process, make sure to not inhale the smoke, and we will be seeing results after the process is done. Unfortunately, we will not be able to show you the results of this experiment, but in theory, the smoke will be dissolved in the water and it will be left in the bottle, because as you can see, there is water left inside the bottle because we didn't punch the holes in the bottom itself. So with this, we will also see the residual components in the tissue because it will be filtered out, and this will show us the non-water soluble components of the smoke.
Some methods of analyzing tobacco smoke in a laboratory include reverse phase high-performance liquid chromatography with UV detection and gas chromatography mass spectroscopy. Some significant components of tobacco cigarette smoke are carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, formaldehyde, benzene, nicotine, polycyclic aromatic hydrocarbons, and tobacco-specific nitrosamines. Carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and nicotine in particular are water-soluble molecules and can thus be dissolved in water through the experiment. These chemicals are also capable of causing harm to the human body. Carbon monoxide and carbon dioxide are asphyxiants that limit the transportation of oxygen in the bloodstream. Nicotine is highly addictive and increases blood pressure, heart rate, and the risk of a heart attack. Formaldehyde, TSNA, and PAH are chemical carcinogens. At greater concentrations and exposure, formaldehyde is linked to myeloid leukemia and other rare cancers. TSNA are similarly harmful carcinogens notably associated with cancer in the respiratory system, such as lung and oral cancer. PAH damage the lungs, cardiovascular, and gastrointestinal system, and may lead to cancer in these areas.
Aside from that, according to the Center for Disease Control and Prevention, in 2020 alone, an estimated of 16 million Americans are currently living with a disease caused by smoking, one or more of the diseases mentioned earlier. However, they didn't specify if these diseases were caused by first or second-hand smoking, which means that a portion could have been caused by smokers spreading the harmful smoke to non-smokers.
This is an important thing to keep in mind because, unlike smokers, people exposed to secondhand smoke don't choose to breathe in toxic chemicals. Once again, according to CDC, secondhand smoke comes from the burning end of a cigarette and that the smoker exhaled by a smoker. Therefore, it is twice the amount that an actual smoker breathes in. Therefore, not only do smokers put themselves at risk, but they also put the people around them at a higher risk of cardiovascular or other immunocompromising diseases.
However, the less talked about effects of smoking are the additional harmful effects on the environment. Cigarette butts are the most common form of plastic pollution and contain toxic chemicals. When disposed of in bodies of water, cigarette butts poison and kill large populations of marine organisms due to the solubility of carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and nicotine.
And if you haven't started smoking, know that nicotine is highly addictive, and once you start, it'll be harder to stop.
So why risk it? Stay healthy.
Worry free.
and smoke free.